12 confirmed kills in just 48 hours. That was Riley Harper's unofficial record during Operation Black Horizon. You won't find her name in any database because officially she never existed. Her code name? Wraith. Not because she was invisible, but because her targets never knew she was there, until it was too late. Now Riley lives a quiet life, at least on the surface. 30 acres of sun-scorched farmland hug the Arizona border, and to anyone passing by, she's just a solitary farmer with rough hands and a stubborn streak. But the calluses on her fingers weren't earned with a rake. They came from long-range rifles and years of classified combat. So when black SUVs start circling her land, the Kalawanoa Cartel thinks they've spotted an easy target, a lone woman, a remote property, a simple conquest for their empire. What they don't realize is that every nervous glance Riley gives is a tactical evaluation. Every moment of hesitation is a calculated move, and every inch of her land, a potential kill zone. What happens next rewrites the rules. Riley's ranch becomes the spark that reactivates a disbanded Delta Force unit, legends whose missions were buried deeper than the deepest Pentagon files. Before we go on, drop a comment and let us know where in the world you're watching from. And don't forget to hit subscribe, because tomorrow's story is even more intense. As dawn spread crimson and gold across the Arizona sky, Riley walked the boundary of her land. Her Belgian Malinois, Rex, padded beside her, ears perked, always alert. At 38, Riley moved like someone half her age, silent, precise, deadly. Combat instincts never left her. She spotted fresh tire tracks cutting across the eastern fence line. Deep grooves, heavy tires. This wasn't the locals. Someone had been here, scouting, measuring. Moments later, a familiar dust trail approached. Emma Collins, her neighbor, pulled up fast, panic in her eyes. "Riley, thank God you're still here. Have you heard about the Jenkins?" "What about them?" "They're gone, vanished overnight, no warning. And this morning, black SUVs at their place. Men in suits barking orders. That's the fourth family this month." Riley didn't flinch. Cartel. That's what they're saying. They're pushing up through the valley, taking over land tied to old smuggling routes. "If people don't sell," Emma's voice faltered. "They disappear," Riley said flatly, "or die in accidents." Miller said no to their offer. Next day his barn was ash. His wife's car slipped off Route 16. Sheriff called it bad luck. "They approached you?" "Not yet, but your place sits on the key junction. You control the northern passage." "They'll come," Riley said calmly, "but I've handled worse." After Emma left, Riley returned to the barn. Beneath the tractor and tools lay a hidden trapdoor, a fallout bunker some mocked as paranoia. She called it insurance. She lifted the floorboard. Inside, comms gear, weapons, tactical kits, everything she thought she'd never need again. Her phone buzzed. A message from an old Border Patrol contact. "Kalawanos have taken 7 properties in 6 weeks. They're coming. Watch your 6. She unfolded topographical maps. Her ranch was more than farmland. It was a strategic gateway. No wonder the cartel wanted it. Then came the sound. Engines. Riley looked out her window. 3 black SUVs, slow, too slow, scouting, measuring, planning. She whispered to Rex, "They've got no idea who they're dealing with." By sunset, she'd made the calls. "Nathan, it's Riley. Time to cash in that favor." "Damn, Harper. Been a long time. How bad?" "Bad. Cartel's setting up shop in Crescent Valley. Farms, roads, everything. I need backup." "You thinking?" "One last mission. Get the team. We're not 25 anymore, you know." Neither are they. By nightfall, her old unit was en route. Nathan Ace Reynolds, weapons genius. Cassandra Park, comms specialist, 2 more on standby. The team was coming back together, and this time, the enemy wasn't overseas. It was right outside her gate. Will Simmons, combat medic. Peter Grant, demolitions expert. Together, they'd survived ambushes by warlords, outmaneuvered terrorist cells, and neutralized high-value targets on nearly every continent. So when Riley Harper called, they didn't hesitate. A cartel had no idea what kind of storm it was waking up. That evening, Riley walked her land again. Not as a farmer tending crops, but as a commander inspecting a battlefield. Every slope, every wash, every fence line, she saw them now as tactical assets. The cartel thought they were circling a vulnerable woman on a quiet ranch. What they didn't know was that they'd just entered a kill zone designed by one of the most lethal operators in Special Forces history. Rex barked, sharp, low. The SUVs were back, crawling up to her front gate like vultures that thought their prey couldn't bite. Riley adjusted her worn baseball cap and took her place near the fence, body relaxed, eyes sharp. She'd play the role they expected. Soft-spoken, unaware, harmless. Let them underestimate her. It would be the last mistake they ever made. 5 men stepped out, their expensive suits clashing with the desert dust. Riley instantly clocked 2 more staying back by the vehicles, hands tucked inside jackets, armed, poorly concealed. Rex growled again, but Riley's calm hand on his collar kept him silent. Leading the group was Eduardo Ortiz. Polished boots, slicked hair, a plastic smile that didn't reach his cold eyes. "Miss Harper," he said, offering a firm handshake. "Beautiful land you've got here." She took his hand, reading his grip, too tight, too controlling. "What can I help you gentlemen with?" she asked, friendly tone intact while her brain scanned the scene. 2 men subtly circling toward her barn, another lingering at the gate with a radio, trained but sloppy. "We represent an investment group," Eduardo said smoothly. "We're expanding operations in this region. Your property happens to sit on a very strategic location." Riley leaned against the fence post, casual and collected. Inside, she was running combat math, sight lines, firing positions, weapon ranges. At least 3 of them had military backgrounds. The others were just muscle, used to scaring civilians into silence. "I'm not interested in selling," she said simply. "This land's been in my family for years." Eduardo's smile faded just slightly. "Perhaps you didn't hear me. We're offering far above market value, $3 million, cash." Riley scratched behind Rex's ear. "Money's not the issue. Some things aren't for sale." The air shifted, the charm dropped. Eduardo stepped closer, voice low. "Let me be clear. This valley is changing, Miss Harper. You can either be a part of that change, or you can resist. But resistance here tends to come with consequences." Riley didn't flinch. "That sounds like a threat, Mr. Ortiz." His eyes flickered. She wasn't supposed to know his name. "Just a fact," he muttered. "Accidents happen, especially to those who can't recognize opportunity." One of his men shouted in Spanish about cameras. Good. Riley had let them spot the fake ones. The real surveillance was hidden, recording every move. Eduardo handed her a business card. "You've got 24 hours. After that, our generosity disappears." Riley took the card, noting the fake company name. "I'll think it over." As Eduardo turned to leave, he paused. "Nice dog. Belgian Malinois, right? Would be a shame if something happened to him." Rex tensed. Riley's fingers stayed soft on his fur, but her voice dropped like a hammer. "That would be a very serious mistake." Her tone stopped Eduardo in his tracks. For the first time, she saw uncertainty in his eyes. The mask cracked. This wasn't the defenseless woman they expected. This was something else, something dangerous. They climbed back into their SUVs and drove off, trying to preserve their confidence. But Riley was already preparing for what came next. Inside her house, she activated the real security network. Hidden cameras, motion sensors, everything wired to the command center she'd built into her basement. Her phone buzzed. "Emma." "They were at your place, weren't they?" Emma's voice was tight. "I saw the SUVs." "Just a business proposal," Riley replied lightly. "Nothing to worry about." "Don't lie to me. Look what happened to Miller." "Riley, what are you planning?" "Better you don't know, but listen carefully. Go stay with your sister in Phoenix, don't tell anyone, and don't come back until I say it's safe." "Riley, please, trust me." She hung up. Then she opened the cellar door. Everything was just as she'd left it. Weapons, gear, tactical maps. She moved with muscle memory, field stripping and checking every weapon with precision and purpose. The Wraith was waking up, and the cartel had no idea what was coming. Her phone buzzed again. "Team assembled, ETA 5 hours. Nathan. Riley replied with a single line. "Make it 3. Company's already knocking." As the sun dipped behind the Arizona mountains, long shadows stretched across Crescent Valley. The quiet rancher was gone. Riley Harper was Wraith again, the ghost from Black Ops nightmares. And the Kalawanoa cartel had just made their last mistake. Telling stories like this takes time, research, and heart. If you're enjoying it, hit subscribe. It means the world to us. Now back to the mission. Just before dawn, the rumble of engines broke the silence. Riley stood on her porch, coffee in hand, watching dust trails rise on the horizon. 4 vehicles, 4 directions. Old school approach, split entry, avoid detection. Nathan's black pickup was first to arrive. Cassandra followed in a camo-smeared Jeep. Will and Peter rolled up minutes later, their rigs covered in backroad grit. No hellos, no small talk, just nods, muscle memory, and wartime rhythm. 20 years of civilian life evaporated in seconds. They met in the barn. It still smelled like hay, but now it held something far more lethal. Nathan unpacked his custom rifle, the same model he used in Kandahar. Cassandra's comms gear looked like hobbyist junk, but could crack military networks in under 5 minutes. Will's med kit was updated, but familiar. Peter's crates? Disguised construction materials, rigs, charges, and more. Everything was in place. Just like old times, Nathan muttered. Except now we're the funding, Will joked, stacking trauma kits. Peter glanced around. Smart setup, Harper. Good lines. Good fallback routes. Riley spread a topographic map across the workbench. They're not just moving product. This cartel is setting up routes. They've already seized 7 key properties. Distribution hubs, smuggling trails. This ranch? It controls the northern corridor. Cassandra tapped her keyboard. Intercepted chatter says they've got ex-special forces on payroll, mostly former Mexican military. Skilled, but careless with security. Nathan squinted at the map. How many? 30 split in 2 teams, Riley answered. One squad's muscle, arsons, intimidation, fake accidents. The other's tactical, real training, real weapons. He scanned the terrain outside. They'll funnel right into us. Bottleneck here, high ground there. We've got kill zones everywhere they'd least expect. They'll come hard, Riley warned. No more suits, no more fake smiles. They're bringing armor, maybe even air support. Peter grinned. Finally. A real fight. Riley looked each of them in the eye. You didn't have to come. You could have stayed retired, stayed safe. Will spoke first. Remember FUA, that school we cleared? You don't walk away from stuff like this. Peter nodded. Cartel wiped out my cousin's farm in Texas. No one acted until it was too late. Nathan just shrugged. You called. That's all that matters. Then Cassandra's voice sharpened. Update. Main force is mobilizing. No more delay. Tonight's the hit. Perfect, Riley said coldly. Let's give them a welcome they won't forget. They got to work. Peter rigged pressure sensors along the road to track vehicle movement. Nathan climbed the ridge, setting up sniper nests at 3 vantage points. Cassandra turned Riley's basement into a full-spectrum command center, syncing drones, cams, and comms. Remember Kandahar? Nathan asked through the earpiece. That night op that blew sideways? Cassandra laughed. Didn't think we'd make it until Riley called that audible. Still don't know how you saw it coming, Will added. Patterns, Riley said, checking her ammo. People get predictable when they think they've already won. So does the cartel. They've had nothing but easy victories. That ends now. Movement, Cassandra cut in. Jenkins' property, 8 vehicles, heavies. Good, Riley responded. Fear makes people sloppy, and sloppy men die first. As night fell, they regrouped on the porch. Age had weathered them, but experience had sharpened them even more. They weren't just fighting for land. They were protecting every family in that valley, every neighbor too scared to speak, every person the cartel saw as expendable. North Ridge is yours, Nathan, Riley ordered. They won't expect a sniper up there. Cassandra, eyes and ears. We split them, we own them. Will, basement med station, but be mobile. Peter, Make the barn look vulnerable. They'll take the bait. No questions, no hesitation. Each knew the stakes. This isn't just about one ranch, Riley said. This is about sending a message. We fight for every soul they thought they could crush. We end it here. We end it clean. And we end it forever. Then, like ghosts in the desert, they disappeared into their positions. War was coming, and this time Wraith wasn't alone. Riley checked her weapons one last time. In the distance, dust clouds bloomed. Cassandra's voice crackled through comms. Gel forces moving. First wave. ETA 15. Copy, Riley replied. Let them settle in. Let them believe they've got the upper hand. The Arizona sun vanished behind the mountains, drowning the valley in darkness. But that was fine. Darkness had always been their ally. Inside the command center, Cassandra tracked movement. 16 in the advance team, 4 vehicles. Coordinated formation, someone trained them well. Riley smirked. Too bad they ignored the first rule of combat, never fight on ground your enemy has prepared. They're splitting, Cassandra said. 3 groups, main force on the central road, 2 flanking wide. Got eyes on the lead SUV, Nathan reported from his sniper nest. Officer types in the rear seat. Hold fire, Riley ordered. Let them fully commit. The convoy crept into view, headlights slicing through the night, moving with the careless confidence of predators. They thought that they were closing in on a lone woman. They were wrong. 2 minutes to contact, Peter reported calmly. Riley peered through her night vision scope. The vehicles hit her perimeter. Doors opened. Cartel soldiers spilled out with military precision, disciplined, alert, weapons ready. Eduardo Ortiz emerged from the armored SUV, barking silent orders with hand gestures. Spread out. I want her alive. They're deploying heavy hardware, Cassandra warned. Technical with a .50 cal in front. RPGs in the second. Stick to the plan, Riley said coolly. Let them walk right in. The soldiers moved deeper, passing her hidden defenses without a clue. 50 meters, 40, 30, then... Nothing in the house, one shouted. Thermals are clean. Check the barn, Eduardo snapped. 3 soldiers approached the structure, rifles up. Riley whispered, now. Peter activated the first wave, non-lethal disruptors short-circuiting every cartel comm line with a pulse of targeted interference. At the same time, industrial LED floods ignited, blinding anyone without night vision. And then came the first shot. Nathan's rifle barked twice, precision hits. 2 cartel men dropped, weapons flying from their hands. What the? Eduardo shouted, diving for cover. Where's the fire coming from? The ranch erupted into chaos. Kill zones lit up. Every attempt to regroup was shredded by interlocking fields of fire. Every direction they turned, Riley's team was already there. 3 flanking east, Nathan reported. Got 'em, Riley replied. Crack, crack. 2 more dropped. The last walked right into Will's sights. 1 clean hit, non-lethal, but effective. This isn't right, a panicked voice screamed over damaged radios. They're too organized. Fall back, Eduardo yelled. Back to the vehicles! Regroup. Too late, Riley muttered. Peter hit the second wave. Flashbangs, not explosives, just enough to disorient, stun, confuse. Technical at your 3 o'clock, Nathan called. Riley rolled behind a tractor as .50 caliber rounds tore through where she just stood. They've got a good driver, she muttered, but they forgot to check their flanks. On it, Peter answered. An EMP detonated beside the vehicle. Low power, just enough to kill the electronics. The truck died mid-move. The gunner froze, exposed. Nathan didn't miss. Then, flashing lights. Sheriff Jack Dawson's cruiser crested the hill. 2 deputies followed. Wrap it up, Riley ordered. The team moved like ghosts, devices deactivated, sniper nest cleared. Cassandra wiped their data trail clean. By the time law enforcement arrived, it was over. Riley stood on her porch, calm and composed, shotgun resting in her hands. Around her, a dozen cartel men lay wounded but breathing, vehicles disabled, ground littered with casings. Sheriff Dawson approached slowly, eyes scanning the aftermath. Miss Harper, care to explain what happened here? They tried to force me to sell, Riley said evenly. Got aggressive when I declined. She nodded at Eduardo, slumped beside a tire, cradling a bleeding shoulder. That one threatened to kill my dog. The sheriff looked around. Blown-out trucks, crippled cartel fighters, precision. This looks like more than a property dispute. Riley met his gaze without blinking. They trespassed, threatened me, drew weapons. Arizona law's clear. The sheriff's tone lowered. They're Kalawanoa. They'll come back, with more. I'll be ready. As his deputies processed the scene, Sheriff Dawson said nothing more, but his expression said it all. He knew exactly who she was, and so did the cartel. Sheriff Dawson studied her with growing curiosity. You handle yourself remarkably well for a rancher, Miss Harper. Riley shrugged casually. Grew up hunting. Dad believed in being prepared. But Dawson didn't buy it. 15 wounded, no fatalities. Vehicles disabled. Pretty precise for self-defense. Guess I got lucky, Riley said evenly. Uh-huh. The sheriff holstered his weapon, not convinced. These men need medical attention, then they'll face trespassing and assault charges. But they're friends. They won't take this lightly. I'd keep extra patrols on the valley roads tonight, Riley said calmly. They might have reinforcements nearby. Something in her voice made Dawson pause. You know something I don't? Just thinking tactically, she replied. It's what I would do. After the sheriff drove off with the wounded cartel soldiers, Riley's team regrouped in the command center. Phase 1 had gone exactly as planned, measured, controlled, and most importantly, explainable, all within the bounds of self-defense. 16 in custody, Will reported. All stable. We treated the worst ones before medics arrived. They'll be back, Nathan muttered, checking ammo. And next time, they'll bring everything they've got. Cassandra's eyes were locked on her screen. Intercepted traffic confirms it. Reinforcements are already mobilizing. Eduardo's boss is furious. Good, Riley said, scanning the map. Let them come angry. Angry men make sloppy decisions. Peter frowned. Sheriff's not buying the rancher story. He knows this wasn't just a lucky break. He's smart, Riley agreed. But he also knows when not to ask questions. Nathan reassembled his rifle, every motion slow, deliberate. So, phase 2? We let them think they've figured us out, Riley said. They'll assume we're just well-prepared civilians. Maybe some ex-military friends, so next time they'll hit harder, more aggressive. She looked each of them in the eye. That's when we show them what a real Delta team can do. The night settled quiet again, but no one relaxed. This had only been the opening move in a much bigger game. Get some rest, Riley said. The next round won't be a warning shot. While the others grabbed what little sleep they could, Riley stepped out onto the porch. She scanned the southern ridge line. She knew cartel eyes were up there, watching. Let them watch, let them guess, let them think they understood what happened. The real battle hadn't even begun. 200 miles south, in a fortified compound outside Durango, Raul Mendez slammed his fist onto a mahogany desk. 16 men, captured by one woman. His voice was calm, but his eyes weren't. Lorenzo Vega, Eduardo's lieutenant and one of the few who escaped, stood at attention. Not just a woman, sir. It was a coordinated defense, professional, trained personnel. No one gathered intelligence? Raul growled. We underestimated her. Riley Harper, age 38, bought the property 5 years ago. No criminal record, clean history. Raul scanned the files. 4 years Army, logistics. She fought like more than a clerk, Lorenzo admitted. No public records between 2009 and 2012. No leases, no jobs, just a tax trail. Raul's eyes narrowed. 3 years, off-grid. She knew Eduardo's name before introduction, anticipated our tactics. He leaned over a satellite image of her ranch. She's not who she says she is. And we've been compromised. Eduardo will keep quiet, Lorenzo said. He failed me, Raul snapped. And now we've lost a critical hub in our distribution chain. Without that ranch, Los Fantasmas have the upper hand again. He turned coldly to his advisors. Deploy the special operations team. I want this Resolved in 48 hours. Lorenzo hesitated. And the woman? Bring her to me. I want to know exactly who we're dealing with. Dawn broke over Crescent Valley, revealing the scorched trails and shattered remains of the night's assault. Inside the kitchen, Riley's team gathered again, watchful, calculating. Cassandra monitored radio traffic. Sheriff's got the cartel guys in lockup, DEA and Border Patrol en route. Nathan sipped his coffee, movements sharp. How long until one of them talks? Eduardo won't, Riley said. Loyalty over life. But the young ones? They might flip. Will sorted through medical supplies. Deputies are sniffing around town, asking about you, property history, tax records. Let them look, Riley said calmly. Cassandra built my cover years ago. It'll hold. Peter came in from the yard. South Ridge, 2-man observer team, pro fieldcraft. Gone now, but they watched the whole thing. Riley nodded. Good. Let them report what they saw. A tough rancher with a few veteran friends who got lucky. She looked toward the horizon. Let them believe that. The next move was already in play. Title suggestion: she was just a rancher until the cartel found out who she really was. Riley Harper wasn't just a rancher. At least, not to those who knew what wraith used to mean in the world of covert operations. After repelling a cartel assault on her Arizona ranch, Riley's quiet life was shattered. Sheriff Dawson suspected more than she admitted, but he also knew when not to ask. Still, the cartel wouldn't let the embarrassment go unpunished. Cassandra intercepted a disturbing signal. A new team was crossing the border, 20 elite operatives, ex-Mexican naval infantry, trained, dangerous, and headed straight for Crescent Valley. The team prepped for round 2, this time not just to defend, but to hunt. The cartel split into tactical squads. Riley let them move in, then hit them with blinding lights, electronic interference, and coordinated takedowns. Within minutes, both the eastern and northern teams were neutralized. Riley's crew left no fatalities, only zip-tied professionals now stripped of their weapons and pride. But the battle was far from over. That night they got confirmation. Cartel leadership was enraged. Raul Mendez, their second-in-command, deployed the remainder of their force, nearly 60 men, armed, ready for war, and coming within hours. Riley's team didn't wait. Using deception and psychological warfare, they lured the convoy into a high-tech ambush. Smoke, sound disruptors, EMP blasts, followed by a rapid strike that dismantled their ranks before they even knew where the attack was coming from. When Sheriff Dawson arrived, Mendez was zip-tied on the ground, his convoy neutralized, and not a single fatality reported. He stared at Riley. "This isn't self-defense," he muttered. "This is war." Riley didn't respond. With the DEA and FBI arriving the next day, the team vanished without a trace, leaving only evidence, prisoners, and a quiet valley behind. But peace was short-lived. Weeks later, Riley received a warning. Protected witnesses were vanishing. Corrupt officials were being cleaned up. And worst of all, El Tigre, the cartel's top assassin, had escaped and entered the U.S. to finish what had begun. Crescent Valley was being circled again, this time by hit squads. Riley activated Obsidian Protocol, a last resort plan for counter-hunting elite operators. As teams of cartel assassins spread across the region, Riley picked them off one by one, silent, precise, unseen, a knife in the dark, the Wraith reborn. Meanwhile, federal surveillance on her property had increased, some of it legitimate, some deeply compromised. Even her ally, Sheriff Dawson, wasn't sure who to trust. In the final act, El Tigre and Mendez led a full-scale assault on the county courthouse, where witnesses had been evacuated. But Riley had anticipated this. Working with Nathan, Peter, Cassandra, and Sheriff Dawson, they staged an extraction corridor under fire. Then came the final showdown, Riley versus El Tigre. A brutal, close-quarters battle between two warriors trained to finish fights quickly and permanently. But Riley didn't kill him. She captured him, with enough evidence to destroy the cartel's North American network from the inside. By the time federal helicopters arrived, it was over. 43 arrests, 12 corrupted officials exposed, Operation dismantled. Weeks later, Riley stood on her porch once again. Sheriff Dawson brought her a quiet offer: become a consultant to train law enforcement. She didn't answer, but as she watched her land stretch out before her, quiet, peaceful, and free, she knew one thing. She wasn't just protecting a ranch anymore. She was protecting home.